So there's this new game that has been making the rounds. A lot of people have been pushing it on Twitter and a bunch of the other sites that I frequent. It's called Peripeteia. It is an immersive sim, and the devs claim that it is inspired by others of its type, specifically Ion Storm, which is a game that I'm actually not familiar with. I've never played Ion Storm. But it does kind of remind me a lot of like the original Deus Ex and some other things. And it's just been receiving a whole lot of buzz and a whole lot of hype. And at first I was like, maybe if I have the time I'll look into it or something. But the more I heard about it, and the more screenshots and stuff I saw, the more I was like, okay, but what the hell is this game actually? Every screenshot, every video clip, every mention, every visual mention of it has been so incredibly dark that I can't make out what I'm even looking at. Peripeteia is a first and third person role-playing stealth game taking place in an alt-history cyberpunk Poland, inspired by immersive sims from Ion Storm and Looking Glass Studios. Peripeteia expands on the formula with new ideas and an original setting. Do you have anything else for me? In an alternate history cyberpunk Poland, a young cybernetic super soldier named Marie must make her way as a mercenary in a post-Soviet city full of corruption and opportunity, where nations' powerful factions and ideologies clash. You'll be forced to use your wits, tact, and raw violent nature to complete tasks shrouded in conspiracy and mystery. Logic, skills, and ruthless cunning will win you the day in an interactive and adaptive world. When that fails, a loaded gun and the ability to create your own climbing routes virtually anywhere will suffice. Have you found yourself hungering for a sense of survival, accomplishment, and player choice, long absent from this dark and belled industry? Then consider joining us in the lights of the Eastern Night with Peripeteia. I mean, it took a little while, but the description did eventually give me a little bit more context as to what to expect from the game. But there's something about this that just isn't right, and I'm gonna have to talk about it. First things first, you call yourself an immersive sim, and while I haven't played the ones that you directly referenced in the description, I am familiar with immersive sims as an idea and a concept. I've played a few of them. I haven't beat all of them, but I've played stuff like Prey. I've played some of the original Deus Ex. I've played and beat Human Revolutions. I've played... what else is an immersive sim? I don't know if Bioshock really counts, but I played and beat those. So I'm not a stranger to this, and honestly, I even respect the fact that there's no map markers, or it's not, holding your hand and telling you exactly where you need to go. That's fine. It forces the player to pay attention to their surroundings and what people are saying, because you're not going to get, a big red dot anywhere on the screen that directs you where to go. My problem, though, is that all of the immersive sims that I have played, and all of the immersive sims that are beloved, generally speaking, by the greater community at large, have tutorials. And they have damn good tutorials. I spent a fair amount of time opening and closing this demo and looking stuff up in order to just figure out what you could even do to begin with. There is a note that says, you can check your skills under a tab in the menu, and there's no better teacher than action. And I'm looking at these different icons, I'm hovering over them and reading what they do, and it's like, okay, it would have been really good for you to start the game just familiarizing the player with the controls. What can be done, what can't be done. And I say this all of the time. If a AAA studio can't get away with not having a tutorial, then you as an indie developer have no excuse. And just because you're trying to mimic the feel of a retro or an older game doesn't give you the excuse to make the same mistakes that they might have. Now, I don't know for sure if Ion Storm has a tutorial or not. Again, I haven't played it. But even if it doesn't have a tutorial, that doesn't mean that you had to create your game to not have a tutorial. Next, we have to talk about the visual. People have been describing this particular visual as a retro look, a retro aesthetic. I hard disagree. Most of my formative years as a gamer were on the PlayStation 1, so I've played a lot of stuff like Bushido Blade, Ape Escape, obviously Final Fantasies. This game was very, very difficult for me to comprehend on a visual level. It is so dark, it is so ugly, that I have a hard time believing that this is a stylistic choice. It's not intentionally ugly, it's not trying to evoke a style. I think that the reason the game is so dark is to cover up some of its visual shortcomings. And there are a lot of those visual shortcomings. There was a moment where I'm walking down, I guess it's a tunnel, maybe an aqueduct or something. I can't tell because it's so dark. I activate the character's night vision, augment, or whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, I guess this is okay. I see something in the aqueduct. I can't tell what it is. And I'm walking towards it. It's not really moving. So I'm walking towards it. And then all of a sudden, it shoots me twice with a shotgun and I fall over dead. I had no way of knowing that there was even a person there, let alone that that person was hostile. And that happens a lot. There's a lot of moments where I'm standing there, or I'm standing somewhere, staring, trying to figure out what it is I'm even looking at. Like I'm having a difficult time processing the visuals on screen to make out what is background grunge and what is geometry obstacle, or like a pile of trash, or is that a character model? I don't know. And that is not only frustrating, but it's messing up the tone of the setting. When people describe a game's atmosphere, they're oftentimes talking about moments like these, where things are dark and grungy and a little eerie, where you're on edge because you can't tell what's going on or what's going to happen. But the reason that works so well is there is a juxtaposition between areas of dark, intense, and areas of light or calm. It means something in a game like Beyond Citadel or The Citadel when you're in a lobby and you hear some calming music, maybe some piano or something, or even no music at all. Whereas when you're standing in an empty zone and you hear footsteps or when music is playing, that parallel, that shift in tone creates the moment of atmosphere. Whereas this game is the same difficult to see, the same dark, the same gray, the same grunge the whole time. I don't feel any sense of tense. I don't feel any sort of worry or fear or anything because the entire world is like that. It's not, oh, I'm walking into a dangerous zone. It's just I'm walking in the dark. Because it was dark before, it's dark now, and it's probably going to be dark in a couple of seconds when I turn a corner or walk through a door. And I'm right. So, the atmosphere of this game is non-existent because everything is the exact same. Difficult to see, difficult to process. As a result, I have no attachment to the world or the zone. It's not particularly fun to navigate because I'm having such a hard time telling if that's a spot that I should even be trying to go or not. If there is one thing positive that I can say about this game is that the fact that it is designed on the Unity engine and I have so far experienced absolutely no load times is genuinely impressive. This map, or these maps, I don't know if it's one or multiple that are somehow strung together, it's huge. There's a lot of space to traverse and it's all continuous. So I took an elevator going down, and that is an alternate path to going up a broken ladder, jumping across rooftops, and then descending, only to end on the other side of the objective that I was on. It's pretty unique, and it's not something that I would have ever expected from a Unity game. I just wish that the environment was more visible and had more going on, so that I could tell what the heck I was traversing through. The fact that you can go through so much space and end up in the same location doesn't really mean anything if you're blinded for the most part through most of it. As for the story, the demo itself starts up with your character in a trash heap with no memories. When you get out of that trash heap area, you're approached by a junker who basically tells you that, yeah, you were slated to be scrapped. You're not actually supposed to be active, but now that you are, I can get you some information if you go retrieve an item for me. And you're like, well, I don't have anything else to do, so I'll do it. He gives you an augment, one of 3 choices. The ability for like reflexes, the ability to slow down time. The other augment is something to do with controlling NPCs that don't have like conversation dialogue, but I was never able to get that to work, so I don't know exactly what it does. And the last one has something to do with your ability to stealth. It then gives you the choice of a firearm. You can pick, I only picked the handgun or the shotgun. I think there's another choice, I'm not sure what it is, but I went with the handgun for the most part. And then you're off on your way. He wants you to steal a light bulb from a dome-shaped building, and tells you that the easiest and fastest way is going to be to climb up and jump across rooftops until you reach it, which is more or less what I ended up doing. There is another way that you can go. It's more direct, but it's dark and dangerous. But upon reaching the domed area, I find that there is an android that's been, I guess, keeping the place going and doesn't want you to shut the thing down. The android is heavily damaged and is under the impression that somebody is going to come and do maintenance on the place eventually. She asked to be taken back to the guy who gave you the augment and the guns, but that leads me to one of the other major complaints that I have about the game is the physics. You're able to pick up boxes and different things in order to move them around and use them to get to new heights and stuff, but it feels awful to do. There's no way, I wasn't able to find a way to hold on to an item long enough to manipulate it to move it or anything. And this particular android isn't an item that you can just put in your inventory. You have to physically hold the key to pick an item up and then traverse the entire way back to the junker, who, I should mention, does move locations from where you first encounter him. But I basically said I don't want to do that. The option to kill that robot and just take the light bulb was there, so I killed the android. They were broken in anyway. I take the light bulb, and when I give the light bulb back to the junker, he goes, "Oh, good job getting the light bulb back." And then as soon as the conversation box ends, shoots me dead. And I was like, that's weird. I then closed the game and looked up somebody else playing the demo. They actually went through the nightmare that is retrieving that android and bringing them back. And the junker guy has some sort of emotional response and goes, "Oh, I don't need the robot, or I don't need the light bulb anymore. Thank you for bringing this android back to me. I'll get her fixed up. Here's a ticket for the train, where you'll find all of the answers that you seek. Good luck. And then the demo ends. And I go, yeah, that looks about as painful as I thought. I'm glad I didn't do it. So even though I didn't technically finish the demo, I didn't reach like the you beat it stage end, I'm like, yeah, I don't care. The game is currently in early access and you can buy it for $25, but I couldn't even be bothered to do the thing in the demo. There's absolutely no way I'm going to buy this in early access. Now, there is a possibility that all of this stuff gets changed and fixed, updated to feel better, but to be completely honest, I think that this game needs a significant amount of work, and none of my complaints seem to be felt by other people who are currently playing and enjoying the game, so I highly doubt that that's going to happen. I'm going to have to chalk this one up to not being my cup of tea. Out of all of the PlayStation 1 graphics games that I've played, both on the PlayStation 1 and indie games that are replicating that, this one is by far the most difficult for me to just look at in general. I don't think that it looks good, I don't think that it looks stylish or stylized, and I don't want to play it. But if you disagree with me, leave a comment down below. Again, the demo is free and it is available for $25 in early access if you do enjoy this sort of thing. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in another video.